I am an only child, and my extended family is fairly small. I typically only give my parents, grandparents, and best friends Christmas gifts. I probably don't spend more than $300 total. When we have our extended family Christmas celebrations, our aunts, uncles only give our grandparents individual gifts. Everyone else gets a joint family gift now that all of us grandkids are adults. Like, my aunt doesn't give me my own gift anymore. I mean, I'm a grown-up, and that's something reserved for children in my family. My significant other comes from a massive family. There were 65 people in the house on Thanksgiving, and apparently, every single person gets a gift from everyone else. I was not prepared for this. I was stunned to learn that significant other and I wouldn't be giving everyone gifts together, but that I was expected to buy 25 people gifts on my own. If I'm honest, I think it's weird as hell that I'm expected to give people I've never met a Christmas gift. I objected, but significant other explained that I needed to make a good first impression and that it wouldn't be possible if they thought I was stiffing them on gifts. He offered to give me the money, but I stupidly said I could handle it. I was flabbergasted and resentful, but sucked it up for the sake of our first Christmas with his family. Thing is, I didn't exactly have the budget for this. There wasn't enough time to do something affordable like a craft, so I was stuck buying presents. 25 of them. For people I don't even ducking know. I had exhausted my Christmas budget on my own family, significant other, and friends, so I had to use a credit card. I never use my credit card for crap like this. It is for emergencies only, and this is hardly an emergency. I know a ton of people pay for Christmas with credit, but I have a cardinal rule against doing so. I was livid that I had to break my own rule, but my only other choice was to not give gifts at all. Long story short, I managed to get together 25 presents worth $15 to $20 each. I thought I was being extremely generous, all things considered. I mean, I maxed out my cards for this, for duck's sake. I also had to spend most of the Christmas money my grandpa gifted me to pay for it. I only had enough of his money left over to buy a $15 puzzle I liked. Now I don't know what to say when he asks me how I spent it. It's going to hurt his feelings something fierce. We got to the Christmas celebration and everything was going fine. When it came time to open gifts, I noticed that mother-in-law was sitting off to the side with a pencil and a pad of paper. She would write down each gift as it was opened. I thought this was strange that she was acting like this was a baby shower, but thought maybe she was awful at remembering gifts and did this to make thank you cards easier, so I let it go. Significant other's family members gave me some very nice gifts. I was touched by their generosity, but I did notice that most of them had spent quite a bit more than $15 to $20 I'd spent on them. This didn't really bother me. I'm a college student working 2 jobs, and they're all big-shot career people. I figured they gave me more because they have more to give and left it at that. I was sure to thank everyone multiple times. I'll send thank you cards and all that jazz. As far as significant other and I knew, things went very well. Mother-in-law didn't make any weird comments about missing him or try to guilt him into spending time with her. We thought we'd made progress. This was last Saturday. This morning I went to check the mail and there was a card addressed to me from mother-in-law. Inside the card was a spreadsheet listing each gift these 25 strangers gave me, the estimated cost of each gift, the gift I gave them, and its estimated cost, and then a column giving the difference in price. So, example. Aunt-in-law gave me a scarf estimated to be $45. I gave her a Tarte Cosmetics set worth about $20. The $25 difference is noted. At the end of the spreadsheet it shows that there was a $250 difference between the value of the gifts I gave and received. This bee literally tallied exactly how much more money everyone spent on me than I did them. Oh, but it gets better. The letter explains that this is a huge disrespect and embarrassment, and I am expected to gift each of these families something worth the amount of the discrepancy to make things right. So like I'm supposed to give the above-mentioned aunt-in-law another $25 gift. Mother-in-law's argument is that I've been disrespectful by being so cheap. My parents are very well off, and she was saying that must mean that I'm also loaded. She literally said she knows I have the money. B, I had to max out my credit card just to give you this. And you have the nerve to call me cheap? What the hell is this nonsense? This is complete BS, right? I texted significant other a picture of the card and letter while he's at work, and he said to ignore it until he gets home so he can deal with it. Y'all, this is ridiculous. I am not complying with this demand. No ducking way. I'm also not giving anyone a gift next year either. They can duck right off, those selfish pricks. I need advice on how to respond. I need to make it clear that this is horribly offensive, selfish as actual duck, and batshit insane. I need help figuring out the words I'm going to use because right now, all I can come up with are nasty 4-letter words. Significant other says he's never been aware of them doing this before. It's just another example of them treating me like absolute crap because he's going to marry me and not his mommy. And to clarify, there was no limit set for gift giving that I ignored. It's not like they all agreed they were going to spend $50 and I stiffed them by only giving $15 to $20. I'm mostly venting, but all feedback and advice is welcome. I mentioned in a previous post that mother-in-law comes over once a week to watch TV with her husband. She was supposed to come over last night, but she wasn't here when I got home from work. When I asked where she was, significant other said, "I canceled. I'm not stupid. She doesn't know it yet, but she's not welcome in this house anymore." My heart swelled. He had grabbed takeout from my favorite place and stopped by the body shop and the liquor store for goodies to help me relax in the tub. We ate, I took a delicious bath, and then we sat down to figure things out. By that time it had been about 12 hours since I received the card, and significant other had started to put all the puzzle pieces together. Most of it has been confirmed by a cousin and aunt-in-law. His ex-wife had also heard some of it. Before I go on, you'll need some background. Like a lot of the dear husbands on this sug, significant other and mother-in-law haven't always been so close. His siblings are at least 14 years older than him, and he was an oopsie baby. He wasn't even the SG. He was basically just forgotten altogether and treated like an afterthought most of the time. His dad died when he was in his first year of grad school, and mother-in-law turned her attention to her other two kids. Sister-in-law has cycled through abusive marriage after abusive marriage, and brother-in-law was an alcoholic and a pillhead. Brother-in-law and mother-in-law's relationship was horrific. Everything you'd imagine from a Jocasta and her codependent addict son. Once their dad was dead, brother-in-law basically became her worthless husband. She enabled everything and was very clingy. We didn't know it then, but mother-in-law was the reason brother-in-law couldn't keep a decent girlfriend. She even ran off a wife because the wife wanted brother-in-law in rehab, and mother-in-law somehow overrode that decision to keep him closer to her. She pretty much never saw significant other except for holidays during this time. Tragically, brother-in-law's choice to move in with mommy over going to rehab killed him. He OD'd on his 47th birthday. It was during the funeral that someone had to remind her, "You do realize you still have a son, don't you?" That mother-in-law realized she had completely dropped the ball on being a mom to significant other. That's when they rekindled a relationship. Not long after, significant other and his ex-wife divorced, and that's when mother-in-law really latched on. They would see each other for dinner and Netflix several times a week, went on outings and vacations together, and he was tasked with all of her household chores. I came along a few years ago and promptly put my foot down. I didn't want to cut her off completely, so I got him to bring it down to one TV night a week and the occasional ball game or what have you. If you read my posts from 2 months ago, you'll see that we've been having problems with mother-in-law accepting that my moving in means I'm not going anywhere. We're holding off on an engagement until I finish grad school, but everyone knows it's coming. Significant other's ex is a delight. It's mother-in-law who is the crazy ex-girlfriend I have to fight off. Her main issue is that he takes me to all his fun activities instead of her now. Someone suggested that this drama is because she thinks I'm after his money, and I think that suggestion is spot on. We had recently started putting boundaries and consequences in place, and I haven't had to share my man hardly at all. Turns out, this nonsense was the beginning of mother-in-law's extinction bursts. So that's the backstory. Now on to what we've managed to piece together so far. This entire thing is mother-in-law's doing from start to finish. This is some Machiavellian crap because literally no one in the family was left unmanipulated. Even though I've been around for a few years, significant other and I hadn't done the holidays with each other's families, so I didn't know this. But significant other and mother-in-law had been giving people joint gifts the last several years. Yep, just like a married couple. Gross, I know, but mother-in-law said it was because she's broke and significant other was doofus enough to go along with it. This recent nonsense all started when she realized her temper tantrums about him choosing me over her weren't going to work. Thanks to aunt-in-law not being able to keep her mouth shut, we've pieced a lot of this together, because mother-in-law told her sister all about it since she thinks she's so smart. Here's what we know. Mother-in-law expected that I would once again skip her family's Christmas and that she and significant other would be doing joint gifts again, which he would pay for, of course. When she found out I was attending and we'd be giving joint gifts like a normal couple, she set to scheming. I guess it probably solidified that this marriage is happening, and she's permanently second place. Let's be adults and tell the truth here. She's a distant knight. She saw one of those clickbait articles about obnoxious people making ridiculous requests. One of the stories on there was about an office secret Santa with a set spending limit. A woman was upset that the gift she got was under the limit and requested her coworker give her something else to make up the difference. When mother-in-law read this, a little cartoon light bulb went off in her head. First, she got to work on the extended family. She told them all about how I'm a rich girl from the city working on a master's degree. She talked about how much I like nice things and the fact that I carry a very nice handbag. It was a gift from my parents for pulling off a 4.0 while working 2 jobs and doing an internship. But whatever. Basically, she made it sound like I was an insufferable snob. She told them how high my standards are and how offended I'd be if they gave me cheap gifts. She put a ton of pressure on them to spoil me, and that's why I was gifted so many beautiful and expensive things. Then she got to work on significant other. She went on and on about how insulted the family was to have not met me yet. She went on and made him feel horribly guilty for letting me hide from them this long. He wanted to protect me from this, and begged her to help him figure out how I could fix things. She said the only thing she could think of was if I gave nice gifts as atonement. She said it would help make up for the fact I hadn't gotten them anything all those other years. That's what significant other meant when he was telling me I needed to make a good first impression. He was so worked up by that point that all he could think was he needed to do this to protect me from having a bad relationship with his family. Oh, and about significant other pressuring me to spend so much on gifts? You guys know that moment in Arrested Development when Lucille says, "It's a banana, Michael. What would it cost? $10? That's my significant other. He makes a lot of money, and cost of living here is low, so he honestly doesn't realize what things cost, because just about everything is affordable for him. He knew I had bought gifts, but he didn't realize how generous they were. For example, he thought the Tarte gift set was only maybe $8 instead of $22. When he saw the spreadsheet, he said, "Is this right? You spent almost $500 on my family?" Then he asked how I afforded that, and I told him I maxed out my card. He said, "But that's still only $300. I told him the rest came from my grandpa's money, and he burst into tears saying, "No, no, no," over and over. He's paying me back for the gifts and the money from my grandpa. He's heartbroken that I did this because he knows how hard I worked to pay off this credit card so I could use it to buy books next semester. He's horrified to realize I probably wouldn't have had money for school supplies next month unless I asked my parents for help. And listen, that particular poor decision is 100% on me because significant other did offer to pay for all of this. That doesn't make it right, and we still have to address the fact that he pressured me into this. But we'll cover that in couples therapy, which we've been going to in preparation for our engagement. Back to the story. So basically, mother-in-law pressured everyone into buying me expensive gifts, and then pressured significant other into making me buy them expensive things. I'm sure she felt so smart. We think that she didn't expect that I'd be able to do it without significant other's help, and that her next plan was probably to get in his ear about how I'm a gold digger and irresponsible and unable to take care of myself. Well, ta-da, B. I'm full of surprises. When significant other and I showed up with 50 freaking gifts, she must have realized she might be in over her head. That's when she started keeping a tally. We know she asked at least a few family members how much they spent on me, to make sure it wasn't too much. She knows the scarf was $45 because she asked, and then tried to hand aunt-in-law $20 to pay her back. All of this was done to reinforce the idea that I'm a selfish snob who asked for too much. Then she went home and looked up the prices for things and estimated others and sent out her ridiculous spreadsheet and nastygram. Joke's on her, because I'm not ashamed of a damn thing. I'm not 100% sure on sending the spreadsheet to everybody. I'm worried it could backfire, and besides, I don't really think it's appropriate for everybody to know how much people spent on everyone, because call me crazy, but it's the thought that counts. I was thinking maybe about blacking out everything but that person's specific entry on the spreadsheet. I feel like it's a crazy enough story that I need to provide some kind of proof. Plus, I can swing it as just making sure this is the right amount I owe you, if I have to. Feel free to give me your thoughts on this part. As for mother-in-law, we're officially no contact. I told significant other from the beginning of our relationship that if she couldn't get her act together, we were going to have to go low contact, but this behavior has pushed us past that firmly into no contact territory. So in addition to sending the extended family letters with their thank yous, mother-in-law's thank you will contain a letter as well. It will be from significant other informing her this was the last straw, and she is no longer welcome in our home. She was barely in his life for 15 years, and another 15 won't be a big deal to him because he's already done it. As far as he's concerned, this is no different from when she chose to enable his brother at the expense of everyone else, except this time, She enabled her own delusions at the expense of being in his life. It's going to be hard at first, and we're slightly worried about family members, but significant other is mostly confident that the family will side with us once this gets out. He also wants to tell his coworkers and ex-in-laws, since this is a smaller town and word will get around quick. This is less to shame mother-in-law and more to correct any rumors and misinformation she spread about me. I've been on this subgroup enough to know that won't be the end of it. So we'll be doing all we can to prep for the inevitable extinction burst. The bright side to all this is that I probably get the dog I've been begging for now since mother-in-law is terrified of them. Yay! When we left significant other and I were drafting out thank you cards. Sending thank you notes is something I'm known for. I send them for everything. Have me over for dinner? You get a thank you note. You get the idea. So for my part of things, I simply did as I'd normally do. I got my fancy stationery out and wrote 25 thank you notes. I included personal comments and made sure to thank everyone for so generously welcoming me to the family. I acted like absolutely nothing was wrong. They were just simple, sweet thank yous.